Possibly the worst kept secret in the Garage Series since I guess Kyle Busch left Joe Gibbs Racing last year was finally announced on Wednesday afternoon as Stewart-Haas Racing announced that Josh Berry will be replacing Kevin Harvick in 2024, taking over the number 4 car, the lead car for Stewart-Haas Racing if we're being completely honest. This is a massive win for Josh Berry and for short trackers everywhere, right? This is a guy that absolutely grinded for the last decade plus to finally make it to the top. He didn't get here with his family money or with a big time sponsor tied to him. Sure, he might have had like a little bit of a sugar daddy situation going on with Dale Jr. who kept him in rides to eventually try to get him to where he's going to be at next year. The thing like this just aren't supposed to happen anymore. It's like the fat camp beating the baseball camp in heavyweights. Like, it's just unexpected because we haven't seen it happen that often anymore. Kyle Larson is maybe the only guy out there right now that has really got to where he's at just based on talent alone because he didn't bring sponsorship with him. At the same time, this is a great move for Stewart-Haas Racing. Not only do they get a really good prospect in Josh Berry, and I know people are going to say, oh, he's 33 years old next year. Sure, that is a little bit old for a rookie. But at the same time, while his run length might not be as long as, say, a Ty Gibbs, his maturity level is going to make up for that. If you get 10 productive years out of Josh Berry, that's absolutely phenomenal. And you're getting a guy that, like I said, is very mature already. His critical thinking skills are way better than that of Ty Gibbs. And this isn't a knock on Ty Gibbs or Noah Gragson. He's just lived life. He's older. He moves through things a little bit more methodically. You don't register and react just immediately. You think about it. And Josh Berry does exactly that. He's obviously a husband, a dad. He understands life better than some of these younger guys. And I think that leads to a ton of maturity and it leads to a lot better results behind the wheel of the car. You see him a lot of times in Xfinity races. He starts out slow, but then they work on that car, and by the end of the race, he's right there in the top 7, top 5, wherever you want to be at. That pays off. And will he struggle next year in the Cup Series? Yeah, probably, because he's a rookie and he's working with a team he's never worked with. But one of the biggest benefits of Josh coming on board is the fact that that has convinced Rodney Childers to stay on as crew chief of the number 4 car. That's a massive win, not only for Josh, but also for Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole. Because I'll be honest, right now he seems to be the only crew chief over there that understands what the heck is going on with these Fords, especially at SHR. So while Stewart-Haas Racing is taking on Josh Berry, Tony Stewart was very open and honest in saying that they don't have sponsorship lined up for this car next year. They're talking to existing sponsors from the 4 car. They're also talking to some new prospective sponsors, but there's nothing signed. Tony Stewart said that he signed Josh Berry on talent alone. He said he wants guys, he said as long as his name is on the building, he wants guys like Josh Berry to be driving for him. And that's great, because that's what the sport needs more of. We need less of funded rides and more of guys going out there and earning it on talent. Tony Stewart also said something funny in the press conference, at least funny to I think a lot of us, where he said he's not interested in a rich kid's dad buying him a seat in the Cup Series, which is a bit ironic considering that he employs Riley Herbst in the Xfinity Series and Eric Almirola didn't have a father that bought him a seat, but instead a big-time sponsor that's bought him a seat. But either way, he did say Cup Series and Riley Herbst is in the Xfinity Series, so there's that. But yeah, it's good news for all short trackers involved, right? And there were some wild rumors on Wednesday morning before this press conference and the Josh Berry deal was officially announced, even though we've all known about it for like 3 months now, that possibly Dale Jr. or Kevin Harvick could be involved in some sort of ownership stake at Stewart-Haas Racing. Obviously, that didn't happen, but the account that tweeted this out, they've been right on Reddit and on Twitter when they posted things before. Like, they hadn't missed up until this point. So that was at least interesting and added a lot of fuel to the fire. Ultimately, that didn't happen, and Tony Stewart said that they have a contract with Ford next year, and that's where they'll be at, is with Ford, unless something changes, which kind of seemed ominous, but Jordan Bianchi tweeted that out. So either way, massive win for Josh Berry. He gets to move up to the Cup Series. He was a bank teller 10 years ago. This guy's absolutely grinding on the Cars Tour. Late model stocks. Had basically said he resigned himself to just being a career short track guy, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not obviously a Cup Series driver. Great win for Stewart-Haas Racing. They get a top-tier prospect when they probably were going to miss out on Zane Smith, more than likely, it seems like, although that could still happen. It just doesn't seem like it will. But at the end of the day, Stewart-Haas Racing gets a great prospect. Josh Berry gets to move into a top-tier ride. Regardless of what people say about Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole, that is still a top program. They're just in a bit of a lull right now. Everybody goes through it. Hendrick's gone through it. Gibbs has gone through it. They'll eventually hit that rebound. And when they do, hopefully Josh Berry's leading the way because he looked really impressive in his substitution role for Chase Elliott earlier this year. And yeah, I think that there's just nothing but upside for this guy. So follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Twitter and Instagram at BreakHardBlog, and like and subscribe.